Continuing coverage of episode 46, Justice League Dark Cursed. This is the alert which takes place in the familiar House of Mystery. Now, this is a map that's really detailed, and back when they did the first Justice League Dark, it was a raid. So you had like 8 people jamming themselves into these little hallways, and it kind of didn't do the detail justice, because this is a really nice model, and as an alert, smaller content, you do get to see more detail as you go through this. I hope one day they make this into like a duo or solo, but this is it's definitely one map they should keep using, and I wouldn't complain about it. It is going to look quite different from the perspective of an alert. I am going to cut out most of the hallway battles and just concentrate on the boss fights. The footage here is from the regular alert. I did record both regular and elite, and I don't think there's any reason for me to publish the elite one because it's just really long and it's just repeating the cycles of the same thing on the bosses. So with that in mind, this is another alert similar to the last episode, where going from regular to elite, there are no like additional mechanics. It's just a stat increase, like, you know, high health, high damage in. But if you follow the same patterns, you should have no problem with the elite version of this alert. Okay, let us move on to the boss fight. Alright, so there's quite a bit of hack and slash in the hallways. It's about similar to the Sins of Black Adam alert, where there's that amount of ads. Not much is skippable, if any. I don't think any of it's skippable, as in the last alert.
Your way? Then up to the clash, or you'd hinder my ambition to see Merlin the Magician, his power, all crumble to ash.
Alright, so this is Etrigan. It's a familiar boss. However, they did change up how all of his attacks work. So if you've got the muscle memory from the other Justice League Dark alert, Darkness Rising, he doesn't follow the same pattern and the same counter reaction. So you see the fire breath there. You can't weapon lunge that. You actually have to dodge. Dodge, go behind him, and attack. And he is going to summon mirror images, and in this case, you're not burst damaging him to make them disappear. You actually have to fight the mirror images and get rid of them quickly. So that was a bit difficult to get used to in the beginning, because you know, especially with Save the Universe just ending, where we just fought him recently. I have it in my muscle memory to react to him as in the previous instance. In a way, it would have been kind of cool to retain that consistency, because, you know, it's just paying off that you learn the mechanics and then you have to reapply them again. And weird that they would change the rules on you in this one. But then again, you don't want it exactly the same, because then he would be too easy to defeat. I don't know, so I kind of have mixed feelings about that. You know, but once you get used to this pattern, there's nothing special about this. And as I mentioned earlier, if you're doing the elite version of this, exact same thing. There's nothing new here, you just follow the same pattern. The elite video I recorded this, we actually did it much more cleanly, because this is our first run in the regular alert, and then they didn't add anything to elite. So. Should be a pretty smooth one, and with if you look at my previous video of the solo and you combine the elite version of that plus the elite version of this, those are the 2 dailies. This should be a relatively easy renown farm, even if you don't do the raid in elite. They are tedious though. There are 3 bosses in this, so if you figure this is about the same difficulty as MTC in Shock to the System, plus an additional boss, so it's like 50% longer. And the solo is going to be, it's probably equivalent to the Elite Duo. It's going to be smoother with its 2 bosses, and it's not as cheese-filled.
And one last slight have I tonight to cage
The solo will be, it's still long, but it's just smoother. So yeah, that combined with the alert should give you a pretty easy elite set in this episode.
We'll figure it out.
And we're going through more hallways, so I'll see you at the next boss fight. Actually, this part here is worthy of note. You're going to come to this room where there are a bunch of various colored swords on plaques on the wall. You're going to get a riddle that describes one of them, and then you have to click on the one that you think is right. So this is just going to take some practice. Like one of them looks like it's made of fire, one is made of gold. And then we're on to the second boss fight here.
Batman Company. Big fan. Kind of awkward here, but Hecate's pulling the strings, and unless you know how to fight ghosts, I feel like I might win this round.
I've got just the thing.
Alright, so Deadman is a new boss. And he does have a whole bunch of new attacks that we have to get used to, as well as environmental damage in the room. Alright, so he's got standard weapon attacks. It seems to be like a modified martial arts, and he'll do this thing where it looks like he's swinging on an invisible pole, and that looks like it just goes diagonally across. Not exactly sure how much damage that does, but it doesn't seem to be a skull attack. But this one is pretty much like a tank and spank fight. There's just you have to be careful of. There are a couple of mechanics, like you'll get turned into this will-o-wisp, and you have to get to the same color icon floating around. It's not really. It looks like it's supposed to be that flame, but sometimes it's floating like near it. And you do have to get to the right colored one, so you just have to pay attention to the icon above your head. And there's another mechanic where he is going to throw furniture at you, and it comes from all directions from the room. This one does not seem to work well with the messaging, because you're going to see like lines appear like right now, and if you go to a spot where the lines won't intersect, you still get hit. So yeah, this one is really buggy. It's like them trying out something new and it's just not working. It probably would have been better without it, or if they just reduced the number of furniture items coming at you. So that's kind of the danger with them introducing new things and trying to add too much to it, because then it just ends up being buggy. I did mention, like in the solo video, that it was kind of boring and they didn't add mechanics, but on the flip side, it's like bug-free. So that's kind of the up and down sides of stuffing it with cheesy mechanics. Obviously in regular it doesn't do that much damage, but in Elite, those, I think if you get hit by like 2 or 3 of them, it's going to take away all your health. So at least in the Elite version, it is going to be helpful to have a healer in the beginning. I would like it, like if it's truly the same difficulty as MTC, I would like to get it to a point where I can run it without a healer. Then that would prove that would prove that it is the same difficulty. In the beginning, it's just getting used to dodging all the boss patterns. I think once I have that down, won't really have a need for a healer. It's always way easier with a healer, because anytime you're an elite, these bosses, if they do like one combo, and even if you block it correctly, it takes away a good chunk of your health. So you have to get used to healing it back if you don't have a healer in the group. Here's the furniture mechanic again. It does work sometimes, but you'll find it where you move to a clear space and you still end up getting hit like maybe one or two times.
Oh, finally. But buddy, you got bigger problems.
Explain.
It ain't just me. Hecate cursed Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing? The living embodiment of all plant life on Earth.
Think I've twigged the complication. Z, let's see if we can't give our friends a long-distance boost.
I've always got a few tricks up my sleeve.
Now, something to keep in mind when you're looking around here and exploring, there are going to be briefings and stuff. The House of Mystery is many, many levels. I think there are some rooms that are even 4 levels high. So you will want to go up and down and check things out. There's a lot of detail here, and it's a really nice environment, which makes the alert pretty cool. Overall, this episode looks great. I mean, starting from the solo to the alert. The open world is Gotham, but it's definitely a step up from Dakota City. And I haven't done the raid yet, but it is in some version of Themyscira, which is probably their best version of an open world. So this is significantly better looking than Shock to the System. I mean, the previous episode, well executed, but it's just boring. It's just an ordinary city. You're fighting kids wearing street clothes. This episode here is way more comic book like. Now this is not quite the boss fight yet, but I wanted to show a portion of this because it's part of the House of Mystery that we have not seen. It's a botanical garden, and it looks very cool, very detailed. Now, the House of Mystery style, it looks a little bit too large scale to ever be converted to a base, I think. But I would love to see this as a League Hall theme.
Hecate's curse is burning through the magic of the green.
I'm putting an end to this right now.
Swamp Thing. Hope you're okay.
And here we are moving on to the redesigned Swamp Thing. Yep, that thing in the middle is Swamp Thing. It looks nothing like the one from the event or from earlier in the game. I wonder if they're going to replace that model with this one. Alright, so with Swamp Thing, this is like lightly mechanics. He does do a form change on you, and then you have to interact with a sigil on the edge. I couldn't quite see it that well in this other in this run. But he doesn't attack in the same way as his previous instances either.
You're going down.
Fortunately, there's a lot of familiar weapon type attacks. If there are no surprises there, you just do your regular counters. And it seems like if a teammate interacts with a sigil, it affects the person that's like affected by the change. Or at least that's what it seems like.
Green burn.
And then there are going to be stages where it seems like he's invincible and he's like healing up. And just like the other boss fights, there's not a big difference between regular and elite, just the stats. Okay, so this is him inside the pod healing up. As far as I know, what you're trying to do here is clear the ads for the other NPCs as fast as possible, so that he's in the pod for a less period of time. I think in the elite one he does it twice, and in regular it's just once. So I think there's like a double size change, whereas in regular he's just immediately a giant.
I don't want to hurt you, but I will.
The green thanks you.
And so do I. You cheeky lot of coffin dodgers. Well done.
I'm just glad we were able to help.
Couldn't have done it without you, Zatanna.
And me?
You were helpful. This time.
Whoa, get in.
And good news, we finally have a plan to stop Hecate. Fingers crossed the Amazons can pull it off.
So you can see from this video that this alert will end up pretty long. I mean, this is like 20 minutes with me cutting out the hallway action. So you put on top of that, if you run Elite, it's going to be like more cycles of everything. I would say the Elite would be twice as long as this, and then you figure this is 50% longer than MTC Elite. So your dailies this episode are going to be longer, but they are going to be pretty stable, as in not difficult. You just have to have the endurance to stick with this every day. Alright, that is it from here. This episode should be launching close to when this video publishes, maybe a few days. So get yourself ready, and thanks for watching.